I'm David Boudia. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Where am I joining you from? Where do you live?
California and St. Carlos.
How long have you been diving for, Isla?
2 years.
2 years? Isla, I've heard you have some questions for me that I would love to answer. What kind of questions do you have?
So my first question is, how did you choose diving as your sport?
I chose diving. So Isla and I had a little conversation before this, and we have some similarities in common. Where I started diving when I was 11 years old, but before I dived, I did gymnastics for a long time. So I transitioned from gymnastics to diving. But one of the biggest things I wanted to do was I wanted to go to the Olympic Games. And so I was about a year younger than you were when I said, I want to compete at the Olympic Games. I didn't know what sport I wanted to do it in, but I knew I wanted to be there. And eventually I started diving and started to progress quickly. And I found myself at my first Olympic Games in 2008.
Wow. So my second question is, what's your favorite dive?
There's so many dives. I have to pick just one.
No, you can do as many as you want.
As many, so I can pick 10 if I wanted to. Well, I think, how about my favorite category of dive? I like to twist. I think twisting is the most fun because you just get to turn in the air. And I think probably my favorite part about diving is jumping off of the diving board or the platform and feeling like you're just free falling through the air. And I think it's even cooler when you're twisting super fast doing it. What's your favorite dive, Isla?
Front 1.5.
Front 1.5. If we ever dive in the same pool, we need to try front 1.5 together.
My third question is, how do you stay so tight through the water?
How do I stay so tight through the water? Great question. I do actually remember my very first time I learned how to rip a dive, and it was probably the coolest feeling in the world. Have you ripped a dive before?
No.
No. One of the coolest things is when you're diving and you have that flat hand like that and you spread the water, it's like the water just sucks you under. But one of the things you have to think about when you're going into the water, which is why we do so many standing lineups or fallen lineups, is you have to make sure your belly is super tight and squeezed and your bottom is the same way. So if those two things are super tight and squeezed, all you have to do is just flick your wrist and the water just sucks under and makes no splash at all.
Cool. My third question is, how do you have the activities you like to do?
Do I have activities I like to do? Like outside of diving?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been in quarantine for a while, haven't we? One of the things that I don't get to do that I would love to do are little house projects outside. So the weather is a little bit different here in Indiana and it's starting to warm up. And one of the things I did, we have a little hill in our backyard with in the trees. I built a little deck and put our hammock over it. And then I put a little swing up, this giant swing for my kids to swing on. And I think they think it's pretty fun, but we'd like to spend most of our time outside as much as we can.
Nice. So my fourth question is, how are you feeling about Tokyo since it got canceled? Or
Postponed Tokyo. Well, at first I was a little bummed because when you work really, really hard for something and you're exhausted and you've tried your hardest to get to that point, and then to hear, well, you have to wait another year. I was a little devastated, but there's always good in the bad. So in any situation that you're in, so it might seem like the worst thing in the world, but it can always get worse. But what I like to try to do is, instead of thinking about what things are going wrong, is what things are going well. What are the good things that are coming out of it? And I would see this next 14 months for now, Tokyo 2021, that I have that much longer to perfect my dives. So I'll be looking forward to after we get out of the quarantine to get back into diving shape and try to perfect my dives as best as possible so that I can represent you, Isla, and the rest of Team USA the best.
Thank you. So my fifth question is, what's like your favorite platform or springboard?
That is a difficult question again. You're stumping me on these. Well, I don't know, Isla. I did both. I did platform for 3 Olympics, and that was pretty fun. But when you do platform for as long as I have, longer than you've been alive, you kind of get to the point where you want to try something else. And when I was doing platform, I loved it. I love the height. I love the adrenaline you get off from flipping through the air and doing a dive for tens. But right now, I would definitely say springboard is my favorite event because I'm not very good at it like I am on the platform. And so it like makes me want to work harder to get the best at it.
My sixth question is, how do you get a good jump? Like, how do you jump so high?
Lots of strength training. So we have to be super, super strong on the springboard to jump really high. But actually, on the springboard, it's all about rhythm of the board. So you know how it just bounces, and if you miss the bounce not at the right time, you kind of stomp the board, and then you don't get as high. One of the things we do is in dryland training, we have the diving boards over the mats. You do that at your practices? Is we do hundreds and hundreds of those so that we can find the right rhythm. So you can be strong on springboard, but I think more importantly, when you're jumping high is when you're in rhythm with the springboard. So everything is kind of like you're dancing. You're doing step after step after step to make it look good.
My seventh question is, what's your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? Well, we have a local restaurant here in Lafayette, Indiana called East End Grill, and we like to support our local restaurants. And this one is actually one of my favorites because they have really good burgers, and that might be my guilty pleasure is a good juicy burger with some yummy French fries. And my daughter Coda loves big cheeseburgers too, so we go over there sometimes and veg out with that.
My eighth question is, do you want your kids to dive? Or
Ooh, should I let them dive? So I did a workout outside a couple weeks ago, and my 5-year-old did the workout with me, and she was just mesmerized by it. She liked to see me flip and point my toes and do the diving exercises. And so if she wants to dive, she can. I'm not going to hold her back, but I'll let them make that decision. But I'm pretty sure right now, my oldest daughter, she has really good toe point and she's interested in it. But right now she's in gymnastics and basketball and soccer. So if she ever wants to, we'll see what that looks like. Maybe you can coach her though.
So my eighth question is, I forgot.
I forget all the time too.
Did you have a diving hero when you were little?
I had a few diving heroes when I was a little diver. I remember watching the 2000 Olympic Games, and there were 3 divers on the 10-meter platform that got gold, silver, and bronze. And I loved watching their dives as much as I could. And their names was Tian Liang from China, Hu Jia from China, and then Dmitry Sautin from Russia. So those are my 3 favorite. And then over time, I actually got to dive against them, which was probably one of the coolest things because I was a little bit older than you, but not much older. And I would watch them on these videotapes. And then finally I got to a competition where they were there and I got to compete against them.
Yeah, that's cool. So my eighth question is, what do you like to eat before meets or practice?
My favorite little snack before practice is probably a peanut butter and banana. Just because when I dive, I don't like to feel like I'm super full. So I eat a little snack right before I get in the water, and that's the best one I like to eat.
So my next question is, do you like inside diving or outside diving better?
Well, I'm used to inside diving because that's where I train. I train at Purdue University inside, and we have a beautiful pool here. But I think probably my favorite place to dive is in Barcelona, Spain. And if you haven't seen it, you should go ask your mom to look up the pool for you. But it's probably one of the most gorgeous pools you will ever see. But it's an outdoor diving pool, and it looks over the entire city of Barcelona, and you can see the La Sagrada Familia church in the background. And you should definitely look at it. So I don't have a preference, but my favorite pool is outdoors.
I dive outdoors in Stanford.
At Stanford. That's I've been to Stanford many times, and that is a good pool to dive in. You know, one of the funniest things when I first started to dive in the pool, the first thing I thought was this water tastes a little funny. So it's not like the water here I have here at Purdue. It's like salt water, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, something. But I thought that was a little strange, but it makes sense. Outdoors, salt water. Hey, Isla, I showed this to you earlier, but I'll show you again. But these are a few medals that I've won from the Olympic Games, and I'll have to say that this one right here is my favorite one from London on the platform. But one day in LA 2028, I'm going to be sitting on the sidelines cheering you on as you try to win this one. Okay. I'll be very excited to see that. But thank you for letting me talk to you today. I had so many questions that I wanted to hear about you, but maybe we'll have to save that for another time.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Isla, thank you so much. You have an awesome day. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for doing this today.
Hey, my pleasure. Stay safe over there. Try to get some jitters out, get some running around so that your mom can have a break. How about that?